Hey guys, no waffly intro on this one, straight into it. It's the build video of Eduard's P51 Mustang. Enjoy. Well, we started with the interior green then, getting the airbrush out and getting all of those areas painted. And then we could turn our attention to the assembly. So you can see I'm just doing the inside panels for the fuselage halves. And these went in, like a glove. It was beautiful fit, arguably better than the Tamiya one. Then I went over that again with the airbrush. You can see, some of the grey areas that were coming through on the other side. What I'm doing here is getting the really small fine paintbrush out with a bit of black paint, just to pick out, the key dials and instruments there. Really well detailed interior on this kit. For 1/72 scale, it's brilliant. Then I've got the interiors wash on this, and you'll see in a second, this looks a little bit alarming. It's like, whoa, that's a lot. But trust the process, that will come back. Then we've got the AK metallic pencils out, and you can see I'm just picking out, almost a dry brush effect, picking out the panels, and like I say, 1/72 scale, beautiful. Then obviously those fuselage halves can come together, and yeah, there was a seamless finish, really nice. Then we had to drill out the holes for the rockets. Obviously not all of them need that, but this particular one did. You can see there the sort of areas that you build onto the lower wing before you then put the wings together, and before you know it, you have something that looks like a Mustang. The elevators then, wow. I dry fitted these. It was a lovely snug fit, perfect right angle, almost didn't need glue. You can see here, obviously, I'm actually putting the glue on. Nice tight fit, and look at that. Beautiful right angle. Really impressed with this. Here you can see we've masked it up using the Royal set that comes with this kit, which is really nice. And then it was ready for priming. Now, because we're using silver, we want a nice gloss black undercoat. And there you can see looking beautiful. I was also able to use this gloss black as the gloss black finish. So yeah, we got that masked up, and then we're using AK's Extreme Metal range, and this is polished aluminium, and as you'll see when this is done, it looks absolutely stunning. And obviously because we're using an airbrush, we can see all of those lovely rivet details, panel lines that Eduard have produced for this kit. So we take the mask off and we're left with something that looks like this. It's already started to look pretty cool. And then we need to turn our attention to the anti-glare on the nose. So you can see I've masked that up. I don't want any sort of overspray. And we're using Ammo MIG's khaki for this. Very satisfying moment, this, peeling that masking tape off. And now these panels here, I used Ammo MIG's burnt metal. And you can see there, I just sort of masked that up to get those panels. Then it's decal time. So what we're doing here is we're using microset and microsol, and we've got some really hot water here. Now these decals have the notorious Eduard carrier film on, but we kept ours on, you'll see at the end. But there, I'm just applying some microset, and then we're getting the tweezers and picking up our decal out of the water and placing that on the aircraft. Then we move that into position very carefully with the tweezers. And then we get a cotton bud or Q-tip to our American colleagues. And yeah, you can see we are rolling the air and the liquid out and making sure that we've got a really tight finish with the plastic. And then what I'm doing is I'm using a hairdryer to sort of almost melt the decal, really ensuring that it adheres to all of those little beautiful panel lines. You've got to be careful though, you don't want to overdo it and melt the plastic. Then we turned our attention to all of the external bits. So we've got the flaps here, and they're in the down position. So what I've done is I've turned the aircraft upside down, and you can see I'm just placing them here. What that will do is enable me to get the mask on, and I've got my guideline from the wing. You can see I'm just doing that there, and that will ensure that the angle, once it's in place in the downward position, will look right. And obviously you can see once I've got that sort of top area, I can then use the tape as my guideline for the underneath. And there you have it, with the undercarriage, the flaps down, looking really good. Just painting the rocket heads here, and I've just used a series of khaki and brown and stuff. I've not picked any specific colour, just some I had that I put on the palette. And you can see we're just painting those there. With the propeller, obviously we've got a gloss spinner with a matte, with the matte blades. So I've masked that up, and then I hand brushed the matte varnish on the blades. And here you can see we have something that looks very much like a Mustang. Before you know it, she's done. You can see here I've gone for a very museum finish. Normally I do quite a bit of weathering, like panel washes and stuff like that. But the finish I had here was real high quality, and I didn't feel like it needed it. You can see all of the panel lines there. You can see in the light all the rivets. And yeah, I just wanted something that looked really quite showpiece-like. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this one. And yeah, I'm going to be buying a lot more of this kit. It's beautiful. So watch the short videos that I'm sure I'll produce. And yeah, I'll catch you on the next one, guys.